Welcome back to the channel. Today's update is another deep dive into what's unfolding across the crypto market as we head into the weekend. Even though many people assume that weekends tend to be slower or less eventful, seasoned investors know that some of the most interesting market behavior often pops up when people least expect it. In this video, we'll go through the broader crypto landscape, look into how Bitcoin is moving, break down the recent behavior of Monad, talk about its trading volume, price levels, and key support zones, and also discuss what the current total value locked may be signaling. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of what has changed since yesterday's analysis and what crucial factors might influence price action heading into next week, particularly with the upcoming FOMC meeting. Let's get into the details. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research before making any decision. If we zoom out and take a look at the broader crypto market, we can see a continuation of the retracement that began yesterday. That corrective phase has essentially carried forward into Saturday morning. However, the story is not entirely one-directional. During the past hour, we have seen a minor bounce across multiple assets. Nothing massive, but enough to show that traders are still stepping in and reacting, even during a weekend session. This isn't unusual, but it's always worth paying attention to short-term reactions because they often reveal where market participants feel comfortable placing bids. Switching over to Monad specifically, we're observing an interesting contrast depending on the trading pair. Against USD, Monad is down roughly 1%. Against Bitcoin, Monad is actually up about 1.2%. This discrepancy tells us that Bitcoin's movement is influencing the dollar pair, but not enough to push Monad downward in BTC terms. As of now, the price is hovering right around the 0.02 and 60 level, the same level it was sitting near yesterday. The 24-hour trading volume is sitting at approximately $186 million, which is noticeably lower than what we saw in yesterday's update. This drop in volume is one of the biggest differences observed in the last 24 hours. Not necessarily. Lower volume during consolidation can actually be a sign that sellers are exhausted and buyers are quietly accumulating. As long as the price holds steady and doesn't break major support zones, reduced volume is not inherently bearish. Now let's take a look at Monad's ecosystem metrics, specifically the total value locked. The ecosystem is currently maintaining a TVL of about $187 million, which is essentially unchanged over the past couple of days. It's worth noting that Monad recently reached a new all-time high for TVL on December 4th, touching around $190 million. Even though we've seen a minor pullback from that peak, the ecosystem remains extremely close to its ATH levels. This is impressive considering the overall market has been experiencing a slight retracement, because TVL depends on user engagement, staking, farming, interacting with protocols, and even the activity around meme coins. When the broader market cools off, people naturally become more cautious, leading to temporarily reduced activity. Despite that, Monad's TVL is still holding strong, which is a positive signal. Before returning to Monad's chart, let's quickly analyze Bitcoin dominance, which remains an important metric for altcoins. Bitcoin dominance has been fluctuating around the 59% range. Earlier, it dipped slightly, but it has since climbed back up to around 59.3%. This tells us that Bitcoin is still commanding a significant share of market liquidity. Bitcoin itself briefly dropped below the 0.50 Fibonacci band, revisiting the $88,000 support area, a level many traders have been watching closely. That support held beautifully, resulting in a bounce that brought the price back near the $90,000 range. However, volatility should be expected, especially with CME futures closed over the weekend. What's more important is next week's FOMC meeting, which almost always influences market psychology beforehand. The crypto market often starts pricing in expectations days before the meeting actually happens. Moving back to Monad, the price continues to behave almost identically to yesterday. In last night's analysis, we noted that Monad was around the 0.0260 zone. It later pushed up towards $0.0270, where we can clearly observe some resistance. If we look ahead, there appears to be another resistance level around $0.0280. But the biggest factor limiting Monad's movement right now is the lower trading volume combined with Bitcoin's slight pullback. Despite this, Monad did show an 8% bounce from last night's low, even though it has since returned to familiar levels. The encouraging part is that we haven't seen the price drop below 0.0257, which stands as a reliable short-term support zone. If that support fails, the next logical downside target would be around $0.0246, which represents a drop of roughly 6.2%. This is still a reasonable range considering market behavior and wouldn't signal anything catastrophic, just a standard retracement in line with broader market movements. To wrap up today's analysis, the broader crypto market is still experiencing yesterday's retracement, though with small bounces forming in the past hour. Monad is slightly down against USD but up against BTC, showing relative strength. Trading volume is lower today, but this isn't necessarily bearish, especially during consolidation. Ecosystem TVL remains near all-time highs at around $187 million, which is a healthy sign. Bitcoin dominance is stable, and BTC has bounced from key support. Monad continues to defend the $0 and 2.57 cent support level, with resistance around $0 and 2.70 cents and $0 and 2.80 cents. The FOMC meeting next week could bring volatility, so keeping an eye on market sentiment is crucial. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe for more daily crypto insights. Catch you in the next one. Stay crypto smart.